Now let's discuss the concept of Sayyam as discussed in Ayahs 183 to 187. So the first ayah, this translation is a wrong translation. It says, O you believers, decreed upon you is fasting, as it was decreed upon those before you, that you may become righteous, a limited number of days. So if you look at this particular ayat, and if you question yourself, how is fasting making Muslims righteous? We have been doing fasting for the last 1400 years. Is it leading us towards righteous? No, it's leading us towards becoming self-righteous and arrogant and proud. If you look at the very first phrase, Ya ayyuhal lazina amanu, it's not talking about believers. It's nothing to do with belief. It's specifically addressing those who amanu, and who amanu are those who use their faculties, especially their faculty of intellect, thinking and reasoning in order to seek knowledge, to be at aman with Allah, to be in a state of utter and deep conviction with Allah. That's the first definition of those who amanu. The second definition of those who amanu are those who are at aman with respect to their surroundings, who are at feelings of peace and goodwill for those around them. And the third meaning is those who are upholders of their iman with Allah, of their covenant with Allah, as defined in the Quran. So keeping these definition, this ayah from ayat 183 and onwards specifically addresses those who are amanu. Allah is not addressing anybody else. Allah is addressing only those who amanu. And then Allah is saying, Kutiba upon you the Sayyam, been made mandatory, written for you the Sayyam, the regime of self-control and self-discipline, the regime of endeavoring to control and put an end and halt to the aspects of, well-known aspects of Shar in the society all around you. Like what was made mandatory and written upon those from before you. It's the same regime. It's not what was kutiba upon us as Muslims was any different to what was kutiba from those before us. It is the same laws. The same laws was prescribed to everyone, to us as well as those before us, so that you observe taqwa. This is the reason, this is the end destination. If those of you who are amanu, if you want to be muttaqi, if you want to observe taqwa, and taqwa basically means be extra careful, be extra conscious in following the laws of Allah. Be extra conscious of these boundaries that Allah has defined in the Quran, and follow these laws in letter and spirit. Be extra careful of these laws. So for instance, when you follow, for example, the traffic law, by being extra careful, what would you do? You would never go above the speed limit. You would stop at soon as you see the yellow light, and you would not move unless and until it's green light, and you would halt at stop. You would follow the traffic laws by being extra careful. And that's what the concept of taqwa is with respect to the laws of the deen, as mentioned in the Quran. So you follow the laws of the Quran, laws of the deen, laws of Allah, by being extra careful. So Allah is basically saying that if you who are amanu, who amanu, if you want to be muttaqi, if you want to observe taqwa, then doing Sayyam is mandatory. You cannot observe taqwa unless and until you do Sayyam, unless and until you self-restrain, self-discipline, self-control, unless and until you endeavor to control and put an halt to all aspects of Shar around you. Unless and until you do this, you would not be able to reach the stage of taqwa, because this is kutiba, this is a mandatory step. Ayayaman Ma'adodat is normally translated as limited number of days. This is not talking about limited number of days. Ayam basically means confirmed. There's no changing to it. Ma'adodat basically means predetermined, fixed. It's a fixed step. It's a fixed element. If you want to become muttaqi, doing of Sayyam is Ayayaman Ma'adodat. It is predetermined. It's fixed. It's confirmed. There's no changing to it. For a certain number of days, but whoever among you is sick or on a journey, then he or she shall fast a number of other days. This is a mistranslation. Let's look at phrase by phrase. Then whoever among you mareezan or on suffering. Allah is not talking about physical mareez and physical suffer only. So mareez by definition means being sick physically as well as allegorically. So it is being in a condition that is not aligned with us as human beings. We as human beings are created by Allah as intellectual beings, as social beings, right? This is how we have been created. So if, for example, if we are in an extreme state of kufr, blindly following some scholar, we are not using our intellect. We are in a state of mareez. Similarly, the concept of suffer includes physical and metaphorical traveling, both included. So it means all such conditions and phases and periods during which a person is not normal. A person is not able to focus mentally or physically because the person is in a state of suffer. It's not normal. So for instance, if you have faced a situation of joblessness, for instance, you're unemployed, then you need to spend all your resources in order to get a job, in order to be employed again, so that the things are back to normal, so that you are able to focus mentally and and physically to your normal day-to-day affairs, right? So if you look at this concept, the Allah is basically saying that Sayyam or to do Saum is Ayayaman Ma'adodat for you. It's fixed, it's determined for those who amanu if you want to become muttaqi. This is Ayayaman Ma'adodat. However, the only exception is if you are a mareez or if you are in a safar. So for instance, for those who are a mareez in any way, in any possible shape or form. It could be in the form of a person being physically sick or spiritually sick or mentally sick, or it could be a person may not have a peace of mind because the person is going through a state of suffer, have lost the peace of mind, must be, could be any situation. So Allah is saying, put all your resources and efforts into getting out of these situations to come back to normal. And once you are normal, then and only then, this um, this aidatan, this ayaman ma'adodat is then become fixed for you. So the word used here is akhir. And akhir is normally translated as last or the other, but I would like to define the word akhir. Akhir is basically the ending of the continuous series of events, things, people, aspects, generations, periods, after which there's nothing further from the same series. And the next one is going to be different. So for instance, if you were unemployed for, let's suppose, a period of 2 months, at the end of 2 months, when you are employed again, the next day is going to be different than the unemployed days. So this day, the next day, is basically your employed days, and it is akhir. So Allah is saying, once you are out of this situation of mareez and suffer, then and only then you are kutiba, you are meant, it's been made mandatory upon you and obligated upon you to continue and resume to the acts of Sayyam. And for those who are able, a ransom as of feeding a poor person, and whoever volunteers excess, it's better for him, but to fast is best for you if you only knew. This is a wrong translation. This is not what Allah is saying. So if you look at this particular ayat, and for those who have the taqat, So this word yatikuna basically means who have the ability, the strength, the resources, uh, 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 the courage, whoever have the wealth, the time, the resources, the abilities, whoever has that, then you should tam a miskin. And again, tam a miskin is normally translated as feeding a hungry person or a poor person. This is not what this phrase is. Tam basically means benefiting somebody or providing benefit to somebody or indulging in experience or taking up someone or something as a responsibility. So if you look at miskin, the concept of miskin is someone who does not have askan, who does not have sakun, who does not have a home in both physical as well as allegorical sense. So we are not talking about just those people who are homeless. We're also talking about those people who might have home, physical home, but they they might be abused in that home. They do not have that peace of mind, that askan, that sakun of being in their own home, being in their own space. So the basic idea of miskin is somebody who is not able to take care of their situation or their selves or the needs of themselves and those related to them. And when Allah is saying Tama miskin, Allah is basically asking us to take such people on as our responsibility, to benefit them, to establish them so that they are not miskin anymore. Then whoever tatawa khairan, then it is khair for them. So tatawa is basically opposite of the word karhan. Karhan basically means that when you're approaching something as a disgust, as unwilling or by force. So tatawa is basically means that when you are doing this out of your eagerness, out of your willingness after realizing the benefits of doing that. So once you realize the benefits of Tama Miskin, you would be eager. You would be willing to go for Tama Miskin without any force, without any compulsion, without any dislike, because you have experienced the benefits of doing so. And Allah is saying that it is khair for you if it's best of the best for you. And indeed, to Saum is khairan for you. Because if you look at the concept of Saum, Saum is making you reach the stage of Taqwa. And once you are in that stage of Taqwa, Tama Miskin is just a small subset of a muttaqi person. There's so many things that a muttaqi person will be doing. So when you're doing Saum, you're actually becoming a muttaqi person. Tama miskin is just one part of it. It's not the whole. So Allah is basically saying, but if you do Saum, it is much, much better. It is much, much khair. This is the most mistranslated of ayah. So ayah 2185, which is normally translated, the month of Ramadan is that in which was revealed the Quran, a guidance for the people and clear proofs of guidance and criteria. This is a wrong translation. Here, Allah is not talking about the month of Ramadan. So the word here, it's used as Shahro Ramadan. And there's no al or ash in front of Shahar. It's not talking about the specific month of Ramadan. It's not talking about that. So Shahar means periods or era or duration. Ramadan basically means burning, high temperatures, intense heat. So Shahr or Ramadan are basically periods of extreme difficulties, extreme burnings, difficulties or challenges. So if you look at the concept of Ramadan, Ramadan, a basic meaning of the word Ramadan is in the meaning of intense burning. So if you look at the Islamic calendar used to be based on solar months. So months like Rabiul Awwal, Rabiul Thani, Jamadul Awwal, Jamadul Thani. These are those months which are based on the vegetation, the cropping, the sowing of seed, which always come at the same time every year. So Islamic calendar was based on solar month. And the reason why Ramadan was called Ramadan in the Islamic month, as per the Islamic calendar, was because it used to come during the intense heated periods of the Arab region, which was extreme heat. So this ayah is not talking about the specific month of Ramadan as per the Islamic calendar, because the Islamic calendar was based on solar calendar earlier on. It is now on lunar calendar. Plus the word ash is missing here. It's not talking about the specific month of Ramadan. It's talking about any period, any era, any duration, which is full of intense burning, hardship, difficulties, challenges, injustices, oppressions. That anzala in it the Quran, nazul in it the Quran. It is during these periods, these era, these duration, that Quran should be anzalna. You as those who amanu, it's your responsibility to anzala the Quran. And what is the Quran that needs to be anzal? Quran basically means read, understand, and implement the ayahs of the kitab. The second is to compile within yourself all the guidance, all the laws, all the commandments of Allah. The third is to proclaim to others, to, uh, to, to communicate to others through whatever ways and means, through verbally, through in writing, through your conducts and behaviors. Proclaim to others the kitab of Allah, the laws of the deen. It is during this period of intense hardship that you should anzala the Quran as hudan for humanity. Now, this particular ayat is basically describing the three characteristics that is going to help you take out this, put an end to this period of intense difficulties. And that is number one, hidayat for humanity. It is a guidance for humanity, for everyone. It is bayanat of the huda. So bayan basically means to distinctly make clear right from wrong, haq from batil, kufr from iman, etc. So bayan means make clear, distinctly separate, give as proof, give as evidence for the hidayah. And the Furqan, the criteria of right and wrong. It is the ultimate criteria of right and wrong. So Quran needs to be unzul in the period of hardship because this is a hidayat, a guidance for the humanity, a bayanat of the huda, of the hidayat, and the Furqan, the ultimate criteria. Then whoever of you is present in the month should fast therein. This is how this particular phrase is normally mistranslated. This is an extremely wrong translation. So let's see what the ayah is actually saying. So whoever shahida among you the Sharr. Now here look at the word al. It is now with al. So al means the specific Shahr. What is the specific Shahr? The Shahr of Ramadan. Whoever shahida among you the Shahr, then they should Saum it. If you look at the word shahida, it does not mean see or witness the moon. It's not talking about that. Shahada basically denotes each and every step, each and every role that is required in order to uphold the justice. So it includes each and every stage, from taking a stand against injustice to raising your voice to calling of witness to documentation to gathering or providing evidences to giving of witnesses to making decision to roles as judge, lawyers, or jury or witness. Whatever is required in order to uphold the justice is included in the word shahida. So Allah is basically saying here that whoever among you are the Shahida, whoever among you are the upholders of justice of the Shahar, of this Shahar. What is this Shahar? This Shahar is the period of extreme difficulties. Whoever among you is the upholder of justice for this Shahar, then they should Saum it, curtail it, end it, restrain it. So if you look at the word here, fal yasamho does not mean that you Saum in it. You Saum there it. There is no word as in here. Allah is asking us to Saum it, which means to curtail it, curtail the Shar, curtail the Shahar, which is Shahra Ramadan. End it, put an end to it, control it, restrain it. And whoever among you marizan or on safaran, then it is fixed for them from Ayayaman Ma'adodat, other than it. So again, the same concept. If you are in a state of mars or suffer, whether physically or metaphorically, then you should wait for the situation to come back to normal. And once it is back to normal for you, then and only then you should do what has been fixed for you, which is to Saum the Shahar, which is Saum the Shar Ramadan. Allah yurido with you the yusra and not yurido with you the asr. Allah does not intend. So when Allah says Allah's yurido, it means the whole system of Allah, the whole focus, the whole desired destination of the system of Allah is ease for you. It's not difficulty. So that you kamilu the other, the either. Kamilu means complete in all aspects. And that means the fixed and the determined one, which is to Saum the Shahr Ramadan. So that you takbaru Allah Allah for what Allah hadakum you, so that you tashkaru, so that you magnify Allah. This is the system of Allah. This is the guidance of Allah. So that you are able to promote Allah's system, Allah's guidance. This is what Allah wants you to do. For what Allah has given you the guidance. So that you tashkarun. So tashkarun does not mean that you are grateful and uttering words of great gratitude from your heart or your words. Allah wants you to do specific actions. So if you're grateful to Allah for Allah's guidance, then you should song the Shahru Ramadan. This is how Allah wants you to be grateful to Allah by doing specific actions in that utter gratitude. And when my ibadi ask you about me, then indeed I am Kareeb. Ibadi basically means somebody who does abd, who follows the laws of Allah. So when those of us who want to follow the laws of Allah in complete obedience by going out of our comfort zone, then tell them that indeed I am Kareeb. Kareeb means near in terms of significance, value, distance, and time. I'm near you. I consider you important. I consider you significant if you are my ibadi. That's what Allah is saying. If you follow my laws in utter and complete submission, then Allah is near you in significance. Allah's system treats you as important. Allah's system is near you in terms of its support and strength for you. I respond to the dawat of the da when they dani. So the when the person who calls out to Allah's system, when they call out to me, I respond. And Allah responds through all of Allah's system. Then let them, so this is the two criteria of how we can seek help from Allah's system, how Allah's system would be able to respond to us. And that is through two things. One is then let them yastajibu means respond to me, and let them yomino with me. Yastajibu means responding with explicit actions, endeavors, and striving. Means obey the laws of Allah in letter and spirit by being completely synchronized with these laws, with the fitrat of Allah embedded in you. Let them yastajibu me. It does not mean simply connect to me or respond to me. This is not what Allah is saying. Allah says respond with your whole being through explicit actions. Synchronize with the system of Allah. And let them yomino with me. Yomino means seek knowledge. Use your faculties, use your akal in order to seek knowledge so that you are at aman with Allah, in the state of utter and deep conviction with Allah. Be yomino with me, with Allah, so that they are yarshadun. So yarshadun means those who have sound judgment, who are sensible, who are mature. So if you are abadu, if you respond to Allah, if you aminu with Allah, yominu with Allah, then and only then you would have sound judgment. Then you would be sensible. You would be mature. And this particular ayat is right sandwiched between the ayahs which ask you to stand up for justice, to put an end to the Shahr Ramadan, to any period of oppression, any era, any aspects of oppression or injustice or extreme difficulties which are happening around you. And this is how you seek the help from Allah's system. Because if the whole system of Allah is going to help you, you will achieve your desired destination of putting an end, of halting this Shahr Ramadan. This is a normal mistranslation. It is made lawful to you to go into your wives on the night of the fast. They are an apparel for you and you are for them. Allah knew that you acted unfaithfully to yourself, so He has turned to you mercifully and removed from you this burden. So this ayah makes it sound as if Allah is talking to the men and asking them to have this sexual relations with their wives, as if the divine is not talking to the female members of the humanity. Divine is only talking to the male members and asking them that now it's allowed to have sexual intercourse with your wives. This is a gross mistranslation. This is not how and what Allah is saying in this ayat. So the first phrase is, Uhilla for you the Lail, the Sayyam. Lail, the night of the Sayyam. So night means the utter and complete darkness of the Sayyam. The Rafusa, so if you look at the Rafusa towards your Nisa'akum, so Rafusa is normally mistranslated as sexual intercourse or sexual relations with your wife. This is not what the word Rafusa is. So Rafasu basically means and refers to all such behaviors which are inappropriate, rude, offensive, impolite, or unsuitable in any manner, or goes against the basic right and justice of somebody. And Nisa is not your wife. Nisa basically are all those who are dependent on you, who lack resources in any manner. So this ayah is basically saying that it might have been permitted. So uhilla means it might have been permitted during the night, the utter darkness of the Sayyam, the thing that you're trying to Sayyam, which is the Shahr Ramadan. So during the night of the Sayyam, so what you're trying to curtail, what you're trying to put an end to, during its utter and complete darkness, it might have been permitted for you to carry out these extreme acts of injustices and offensive behavior against those segments of the population which are dependent on you, who lack resources, and they are dependent on you for any manner. So it might have been permitted during those darkest periods to have that inappropriate behavior with them. However, Allah is saying that they are a libas for you, as you are a libas for them. They are as dependent on you as you are dependent on them. You are dependent on them. They are a libas for you as well. So if you are a Rajal, if you have resources of any resources and you have people who are dependent on you for these resources, then they are dependent on you as you are dependent on them. Allah knows that you tahtanuna your nafs, so taba Allah upon you and afa Allah upon you. Tahtanuna basically means deceive, contradict, go against your nafs. And Allah is talking about nafs mutmainna, that part of your nafs which asks you to do good things, that part of your nafs which is connected with fitrat of Allah. So Allah is saying that by engaging in that inappropriate, offensive, and rude behavior with the dependent segment of your society, whether male or female, it is not, the word nisa is not dependent on gender. So Allah is saying that those that getting that involving in that inappropriate behavior and offensive behavior with the Nisa segment of the society might have been permitted to you during the darkest period of the Sayyam, of the thing of the Shahada Ramadan that you're trying to Sayyam. But by doing that, you were going against, you were contradicting, you were suppressing, you were weakening your nafs mutmainna that was connected with fitrat of Allah. But now you should taba Allah. You should turn Allah towards you, make a U-turn, turn Allah towards you, so that Allah afa upon you, so that Allah gives you generously, bless you in abundance. So now be in contact with them and seek what Allah has ordained for you, and eat and drink until the whiteness of the day becomes distinct from the blackness of the night at dawn. What does it mean, blackness of the night at dawn? This is not what Allah is asking you to do. So if you look at the next phrase, then not indeed basharahunna, not indeed basharahunna, and abtahu what Allah has kutiba upon you. Not go near Shar. So not with Shar. Do not go near Shar or conduct any deeds with aspects of Shar. So the Rafasu behavior with the Nisa was basically acts of Shar. So Allah is basically saying, do not go near Shar. Now what I don't understand is that when Allah is saying, Falan basharahunna, how is it translated is so now be in contact with them, when the word lan basically means not. Do not go near Shar or conduct any deeds with aspects of Shar. And abtahu means seek, aim for, be in quest of what Allah has made mandatory upon you. Do not go near Shar. Seek what Allah has made mandatory upon you, because this is through this you would get afa of Allah. You would get Allah's generous blessings in abundance. And kalu and ashrabu. Kalu and ashrabu means get benefit from, consume, use Allah's system, Allah's blessings, the laws of Allah in the kitab, the laws of Allah in nature, the fitrat of Allah in yourself. Use, take benefit from the system of Allah. And ashrabu, get engulfed, get overwhelmed, act upon this guidance. Until yatabayyan means distinct for you. The khayt means treatment, fixing, and healing. Hayat means treatment. Abiyaz is normally translated as the white, and the aswad is normally translated as the black. This is not the meaning. So abiyaz means distinct and obvious aspects of the fajr. So both of these are of the fajr. And fajr basically means enlightenment, divine enlightenment. So Allah is basically saying that when the distinct aspects of, clear aspects of Allah's divine enlightenment become distinct from the blurred aspects, then up until then, be on guard. Kulu and ashrabu. Then complete the fast till night and have not contact with them while you keep to the mosque. These are the limits of Allah. So do not go near them. As if Allah is asking you not to go near the nisa and not to be in contact with the nisa when you are in the masajid. Really? Do we really think that when Allah wants you to be obedient to Allah's laws, Allah wants you to go against your fitrat and nature? This is not what Allah is saying. Then complete the Saum until the Lail, and do not you with Bashar. It's the same concept. Complete the Saum until the Lail is completely gone. Complete in all its respect. Until the Lail is completely gone. And do not with Bashar. Do not go near the Bashar in any shape or form. And especially while you are akifuna in the masajid. So akifuna basically has the concept of uniting something by making it strong. So if you look at the concept of akifuna, it basically means strengthen and connect people and aspects together so that everyone can remain connected and strong in unity. So what Allah is saying, akifuna in the masajid. Akifuna means that you are supposed to get rid of all these things that hinder the unity. You're supposed to remove all the aspects because of which people cannot be united together. Akifuna means trying your best to unite people together in unity and strength. And masajid is a place where submission to the divine laws and to the laws of Allah is being done in complete submission and obedience. So Allah is basically saying that while you are trying to unite everyone by removing all these injustices, by halting the periods of suppression and injustices and extreme difficulties, by enlightening everyone through the divine laws, by making sure that the distinct aspects of Allah's divine guidance is completely obvious to everyone, by making sure that the complete and utter darkness of the Shahada Ramadan, of the periods of extreme difficulties and injustices is completely got rid of. You are supposed to aim for uniting people together in unity and strength as submission to Allah's laws, while you're trying to do that in the masajid, a place where submission to Allah's laws are being adhered. This is the boundary of Allah, so do not go near it. And thus Allah make bayan to you, make distinct to you Allah's ayat so that they observe taqwa. Again, remember, the basic objective of Saum is to be able to observe taqwa. This is all the ayahs that are talking about that. So 2183 to 2187 are all talking about how to observe taqwa. And that's what Allah is concluding in this ayah.